findings of a multi-million-dollar to release the findings of a multi-million-dollar international audit it commissioned into the financial affairs of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. The anti-corruption body has also refused to confirm whether it has closed its investigations into Dr. Holness's statutory declarations. The Commission has claimed the matters are now sub judice and the Integrity Commission Act bars it from responding. It was responding to a series of questions and an access to information request submitted by Nationwide News. Ricardo Brooks has the details.
In its 2024-2025 annual report at page 71, Appendix 1, the Integrity Commission notes that it has closed an investigation into Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. The report says the investigation began in April 2023 and was closed in July of 2024. The probe is said to have lasted 338 days. No specificity was provided as to what the matter related to. So far as our news center could confirm, there is no other investigation in the public domain related to Prime Minister Andrew Holness except the probe launched into his declarations. In that probe, the Commission's Director of Investigation, Kevon Stevenson, recommended that an assessment be done as to whether Holness had broken the law by making false statements in a statutory declaration. The Commission's Director of Corruption Prosecution, Keisha Prince Kamika, declined to prosecute Holness, finding he had no criminal case to answer. Prince Kamika has since left the Commission after her contract was not renewed under controversial circumstances. Following widespread public speculation on the reference in the Commission's annual report, Nationwide News asked the Integrity Commission for clarity. On June 30, 2025, we wrote to the anti-corruption body posing a series of questions. Among them, we asked the Commission to clarify whether the referenced investigation related to the Prime Minister's statutory declarations, the same matter that had been referred to the Financial Investigation Division FID for further probing. We also asked if the cited investigation is in fact related to the statutory declarations, and if the Integrity Commission considers the investigation closed, why has it refused to certify the Prime Minister's declarations? Our news center also specifically asked the Commission's Chairman, retired Justice Carol Lawrence Beswick, why the findings of the international audit into Holness's affairs have not been made public. We asked Justice Lawrence Beswick whether she believed the people of Jamaica have a right to know the audit's findings ahead of a general election. We further asked the Commission's Chairman whether she would commit to making the findings public. We also asked the Chairman how Jamaicans should view the work of the Commission, considering the billions in funding it receives, a closed investigation, and no certification of the Prime Minister's declarations. Our news center also submitted two requests under the Access to Information Act. Firstly, we requested all documents and reports submitted and prepared by all auditors engaged by the Commission to review the finances of Dr. Andrew Holness. We also requested all documents or minutes related to meetings of the Commission's Information and Complaints Committee for the period 2021 to 2024, at which the statutory declarations of Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Opposition Leader Mark Golding were discussed and decisions taken on certification or non-certification. On July 10, 2025, the Commission responded. In a terse two-paragraph response, the Commissioners and Directors declined to answer all the questions and refused to honor the access to information requests. According to the Commission, the investigation into Dr. Andrew Holness is before the courts, and therefore, the Commission cannot discuss the matter. The anti-corruption body also refused to provide the requested documents related to the international audit's findings. The Commission says while it acknowledges the provisions of the Access to Information Act, it is constrained by Section 56 of the Integrity Commission Act. That section imposes a requirement of confidentiality regarding information, documents, statutory declarations, and government contracts. It is unclear whether that provision of the Act continues to govern a matter that is considered closed and a report submitted and tabled in Parliament. Along with Section 53 of the Act, Section 56 is considered a gag clause. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has publicly stated that he's being unfairly targeted by the Commission. He has challenged several key findings in court. That matter will be heard in October. Ricardo Brooks for Nationwide News.
Transport Minister Darrell Vaz is rubbishing claims the government could have bought 100 brand new coasters for the money he used to procure 110 used buses from the United States. Mahiri Stewart has that story.
Nationwide News has seen the import licenses for 42 of the 110 buses being used for the government's rural school transportation program set to be launched in September. According to the documents, the cost of the buses being purchased by the ministry range from as high as $20,000 to as low as just under $10,000. In a statement on Wednesday, Transport Minister Darrell Vaz said part of the PNP's attack on the program involved the use of bloggers to raise doubt about the cost of the buses. Several bloggers have been posting documents purporting to show that the government could have bought brand new coaster buses for the $1.4 billion spent instead of the 110 buses to be procured for the program. One such document is an invoice for a 2026 Toyota coaster bus. The discounted price on the pro forma invoice comes up to 12.4 million Jamaican dollars. But Minister Vaz says not only is the math wrong, but the premise of the calculation is also wrong. According to Minister Vaz, the $1.4 billion to be spent involves way more than just the cost of procuring the individual buses from the U.S.
$1.4 billion is the cost to buy these buses, pay inland freight, sea freight to get them to Jamaica, to retrofit them with the doors, refurbish them where needed, 1 year of spare parts, 1 year of a maintenance contract with the supplier to service the buses as was being done through the Department of Transport in the United States of America. It will also have the technology that is going to be required to make sure that the children are safe and that we can see them from the Ministry of Education and also the parents.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
President of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, the PSOJ, Metri Siaga, is welcoming news that Jamaica has been delisted as a high-risk jurisdiction for money laundering and financing terrorism by the EU. Jamaica had been on the list since October 2020.
The removal of Jamaica from the list of countries that are on the high-risk list for money laundering is a very positive move in the right direction for Jamaica and will bode well for investments of many different types in our country. So I congratulate the government on putting the things in place to make that happen and look forward to us getting even more investments now based on what has happened.
The European Commission's updated list of jurisdictions presenting strategic deficiencies in national anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism regimes was published on Tuesday. The decision to remove Jamaica marks a key milestone as the country seeks to position itself as a stable and reliable partner in the global financial system. It comes after Jamaica was removed from the Financial Action Task Force's grey list last year. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness and the Foreign Affairs Minister, Kamina Johnson-Smith, have both expressed delight at the move by the EU. Mr. Siaga says prior to this updated list, foreign investors were hesitant to do business in Jamaica.
What it did was it created almost a black cloud over Jamaica. Many companies in specific industries like gaming industries and others that are highly regulated, banking, insurance, they look very closely at the way the international community views your country. And they use that as one of the indicators as to whether to invest in the country or not. Now that that's lifted, it will certainly free up more investment to come into our country.
Metri Siaga, the president of the PSOJ.
Meanwhile, economist Keenan Faulkner says the recent removal of Jamaica from the European Union's list of high-risk countries as it relates to anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism signals a shift for investor confidence.
I think it's just a natural follow-on from the removal from the FATF list last year. So I think the EU Parliament would have been looking at that situation and recognizing that Jamaica has been engaging in many reforms and it is now seen as relatively safer for investment relative to the period before it was taken off the list. So perception of risk really influences investment decisions globally. And when you are flagged by these international organizations for deficiencies in your AML, CFT network, your framework, then it does not inspire confidence. So just the mere act of removal from the grey list from FATF last year, from this high-risk list of countries this year, it acts as a signal to international investors that Jamaica, your money will be safer here.
Mr. Faulkner told Nationwide this morning that the new development will allow transaction processes to become less tedious.
In practical terms, it just really means that you can reevaluate business relationships, but it also means that your due diligence can be simplified or can be standardized. So typically there are 3 levels of due diligence. You have simplified due diligence, standard due diligence, and your enhanced due diligence. So we don't need to seriously apply enhanced due diligence to certain transactions. Like people are sending remittances, they don't need to provide certain kinds of information that will hold up the transaction, or it seems onerous to comply with certain requirements. So in practical terms, that has benefits for facilitating business activity, particularly across borders.
Keenan Faulkner, economist.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.